Hey, this is Tom McGivern. I am a licensed broker here in New York on Long Island with Douglas Elliman. This is the Not Just Real Estate Podcast with your hosts, Tom McGivern and Colleen Davis. Colleen is at a final walkthrough tonight. She's busy. I am going to be hosting this episode 12 of the Long Island Housing, of the Not Just Real Estate Podcast. Now, this is information tonight for basically anybody who's thinking about selling. It's the basics of putting your home, like on the market, all right, and hiring a broker, trying, to make the sale. And it's just a basic template. I just wrote down some general notes, and I'm going to kind of go through them. If you have any questions, you can respond to just comment on my blog, or if you see this on social media, you can also make a comment there, or you can if you're on my website, just contact me multiple ways of getting in touch with me. So I'm not going to go over those ways, but so I thought about it and I said, what is it to list a home, right? So because it's an overwhelming task, I think, for a lot of people. Many people spend years and years in their home. They've never sold a home. And this is just selling your own home. So if you're involved in an estate sale or something like that, there are other variables, other things that you need to take into consideration there. And of course, you can contact me and we can go over the specifics. But this is just to basically sell your home. And I find over the 11 years plus of doing this, sometimes many real estate agents can forget that while you're selling 50, 60 homes a year, most people are only selling one home, every 15 years, so I figured I'd put something together that's basic. All right, so what you want, first of all, you're going to want a pricing strategy, okay? That's pretty much first and foremost. Hey, what is my home worth? Now, today you can go online and you can get various websites that might give you a kind of a ballpark on what your home's worth. I think a lot of people pay attention to what's sold in their area, who's got their house on the market. Right today, a house sign pops up. In the year 2018, when I'm doing this, right now there's not a lot of listings on Long Island. So, a sign pops up and it's like, oh my God, they're selling. How much are they asking? That type of thing goes on. Or people start, going online and looking for the listing. But you need a price, okay? And the best way to get that is from a professional, licensed real estate agent. You don't need to hire an appraiser. You don't need to go out and spend $500-$600 to get an appraisal. What you need is just a real estate agent, okay? And you're listening to one, so you can call me right now, 631-831-9048. But, so it's going to be called a CMA, right? A comparative market analysis. That's the basic, right? So now you're going to get a pricing strategy. And I'm not going to go into details about how that's broken down, but you're going to get a pricing strategy, okay? The next thing is really you need to know where you're moving. Okay, why are you selling? Where are you moving? That's a very common question you're going to be asked by the real estate agents that you talk to. And you're going to want to have a pretty good idea of where that is. And then when you want to make that move. That's important. Typically, it takes about 60 days plus to get a mortgage. All right, so most likely you're going to be selling to someone who is trying to sell their home. They're in contract and they're going to get a mortgage and they're going to use some of the money to put down as down payment. That's going to be one of your buyers. Another buyer may be paying cash, but they still need to sell their home. And then, there's, of course, the cash buyer who doesn't have to sell a home or already sold their home, has the money in a bank account waiting. And then you have the straight, hey, I don't have a home to sell, but I have to get a mortgage. The mortgage process takes about 60 days. So you need to be aware of that. You might say, hey, I want to sell and close in November, and meanwhile it's, May. That takes a specific type of real estate agent and company, in my opinion, to know how to handle that and how to time that out. So where are you moving, when you want to go there, and when you want to make this happen. That's very, very important. Now, again, this is the basics. I just want to reiterate that. I don't want anybody thinking that this is it. There's more to it. I'm going to continue, but there's little things in there in those three categories that are huge pieces of information that I don't want to get into too much. Like how to improve the value of your home, what little things you can do to the house to make it, pop a little bit more, help it sell a little bit better, actually get more value out of it, right? The basic rules. $50, is a can of paint, right? You put it on the wall, it's worth $500, right? That's a basic rule. Not going to get into all those things. So those are the basic starters, right? That's your appointment, get a price, etc. Then you're going to look at getting you're going to have to sign a listing agreement. Now, a listing agreement covers a few things. One of them is the commission, okay, or the incentive. Right? You're going to discuss that with the real estate agent. Everyone has varying opinions. You can look up Google and look up the average commission in New York, and you'll get an answer. Right? It'll pop up. I think last time I checked, it was 6% or 5.5%. But there's varying levels, and you're going to get into a little bit other things. I'll go into some other things on how to identify what to look for in the agent you hire or the broker. But the listing agreement itself is just, hey, what's the commission? What's the price that we're going to be asking? What's the length of the listing? That's the basic three elements of a listing agreement. How long is the listing? What is the commission that we're going to be offering that you're going to be obligated to pay when, if they present you with a buyer that's willing to pay your price? It is not an obligation to sell your home. You're not obligated to sell. You can pull out of that and say, I don't want to sell anymore, or I don't want to do this, or I want to do, it's just an obligation to pay a commission should you accept an offer. And, basically go to full contract. Now, caveat to that is the technicalities, right? I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. But if you have what's called a meeting of the minds, technically in the state of New York, the broker is, if there's a meeting of the minds, your real estate broker can be due a commission. That's without closing either. So if the deal falls, like you decide, not to, or the buyer, whatever goes on, and they say, oh no, you owe me a commission, yada yada yada, because we have a meeting of the minds. That's, it's a law. I think it's dated, but in any event, the listing agreement is basically, hey, what's the commission? How long's the listing, and what's the price? And you pay the commission at closing when you hand the keys over. They sign their paperwork, and you say, thank you very much, and away you go, right? And everyone's happy. Now, in the listing agreement is an exclusive right to sell. That means if ABC Realty signs you up, they sign you up for a year, they're charging you a 6% commission. They bring you a buyer. Aunt Sue calls you up and says, hey, I want to buy your house. You still got to pay a commission. It's an exclusive right to sell, meaning anyone who wants to buy the house, you got to pay him a commission, right? So understand that that's what that is. That's the main core of what a listing agreement is. How long is the listing? What's the commission we're going to be paying? And what is the going to be the price of my my home? So as you go through this, right, you're going to meet with a couple of real estate agents. You're going to sit down. You're going to be a little bit nervous. They're going to do their thing. And now, what do you look for in a real estate, agent? I came up with these on my own, and they are basically, again, basics. This is an overall. This is the basics of selling and listing your home. The experience of the agent. Okay, how do they handle past transactions? How will they handle yours? And how will they treat you? So, past client reviews are always good to look at, right? Zillow.com is a website a lot of people go to, and on there, you have reviews. They're good to look at, right? Other agents, my partner Bryn, he has video testimonials. And they're great. People actually on video saying, hey, I hired so-and-so because they're great. That's always good too. But you want to kind of maybe take those into consideration. The agent should probably have them with them when they come to say, hey, you can take a look at some of these I printed up for you. Or maybe they have a laptop and they go right on there, or an iPad or something, and they'll show you right then and there. Yeah, read through a couple of these, take a couple of minutes. They could send them to you beforehand as well. Hey, here's a link to my profile or my blog. Here's some testimonials of past clients, case studies of successes I've had with other clients, and this is what they had to say. Of course, the experience of the agent is super important in every market. Okay, an agent who knows how to navigate the waters is so very important, and it is overlooked so many times by people. I do things, my partner does things, says things, handles things so smoothly, the client doesn't even really know. Meanwhile, the only way they really know is if they hire a bad agent who doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't have experience, and it's kind of funny because that's the only real way you're like, wow, what a difference. Meanwhile, if you hire a great agent and everything goes smoothly, you turn around and you go, wow, that was great. Some people might even take that for granted. So you want an agent who's experienced, who can negotiate. That is key. Second thing is, hey, what's the success of the brokerage in selling in my area? That's important. Who sells in my area? There might be an agent out there. You see their name and their face everywhere. Like, wow, they're great. I'm going to hire them. Interview them. Great. But interview somebody else. Find out, maybe they're underpricing houses. I know of several real estate agents in, certain markets. I know that they underprice properties. Period. End of discussion. I know it. And they give away probably, 5-7% of the owner's equity. That's their strategy. I'm not saying that they're disreputable or bad person. That's their marketing strategy to sell and make sure homes sell, and they want to do it as cookie cutter as possible. They want to treat basically every home and every homeowner as the same, and they have success, and that's good. But they are giving away equity, in my opinion. So, success of the broker. Look at who's selling in the area. How much are they selling for? Are they selling for the top prices, or are their prices under what somebody else is selling for? Super important, success of the broker. And then third thing, hey, what's the marketing strategy? Got to know the marketing strategy. How is my home going to be marketed? I provide that in writing to the owners. It's a bullet list. I review it on every single deal. I don't treat them as cookie cutter. I might increase ads in a certain area, and you're going to have that in writing, okay? And you get a copy of that with a listing proposal that's in writing, okay? I believe in that. So you want to look at those three things: experience of the agent, success of the brokerage in selling in the area, and marketing. What's the marketing strategy? That's essentially it in a nutshell. When you go to call some real estate agents, that is the key, right? And if you could start with a referral, they're always good. Ask around. Sometimes I'm blown away though by referrals. It's like, they're like, oh, so and so used this attorney. We're gonna use them, and the next thing you know, I'm like, they're not returning phone calls. They don't practice real estate, law. So you also got to take that with a grain of salt as well. I always say, hey, the golden rule is interview at least 2 real estate agents, maybe even 3. Okay, and no matter if they, and then feel them out. Seeing is believing. Having them in your kitchen at your kitchen table is worth more than any website or anything else it can ever give you. Because if they're too pushy, if they show up late, they're not courteous, whatever it is, if you pick up on things that you don't like, then don't hire them. Okay, I don't care if there are signs everywhere and they're like wow, they sell every house. But if you don't like them, don't list with them. And hire. That's why you come in. You hire 2 or 3 agents, and if you don't like any of those agents, interview another one. They're free appointments. So if you have any questions about this is the basics of listing a house. You start with, in the listing agreement, there are other documents that you sign, disclosures, various stuff. I'm not going to get into that here. It would really be boring. But you want the pricing strategy. You want to know where you're going. You want to know when you want to get there. Those are important. You're going to sign a listing agreement. Covers basics, the commission, the length of the listing. It's an exclusive right to sell. And you want to look for the experience of the agent, making sure you can be taken care of, the success of the brokerage and selling in the area, and a marketing strategy that's solid. I'm Tom McGivern. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Not Just Real Estate Podcast. I look forward to helping you or a friend or family member or coworker that you know. If you do know somebody, hey, listen, forward this podcast to them. I appreciate that. And check out my other podcasts at tommcgivern.com/NJRE podcast. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.